Hi, and welcome to Science Time with Miss Victoria. This program is recommended for ages 6 and up. However, depending on the experiment, it may be for younger and it also be for older kids. So let's go ahead and begin. Now remember, before we even start the experiment, we got to wash our hands for at least 20 seconds. You can refer to on our YouTube channel the video in which I was doing a rhyme where I washed my hands top and bottom, in between, and then I rubbed them all together. It comes out to about 25 seconds, so that'd be perfect. Once your hands are dry, next step is to gather our supplies. However, I haven't told you yet what we're doing, right? So before we get to that, our last step I want to remind you is on these experiments, adult supervision is recommended just in case. Doesn't hurt to have the adult with you. Now some of these you can do by yourself. Once the supplies are gathered, parents, you can help them out. After that, they can probably do them themselves, but I would stick around just in case. So let's go find out what we're doing. Today, we're going to be gathering supplies for tornado. All right, so let's go ahead and go over the supplies that we're going to be needing in order to make our tornadoes. First thing you're going to probably need is going to be a jar. Make sure it has a lid. Now these jars, a lot of them are glass. You can find them in plastic as well, so look for those. You can also substitute with a plastic container or water bottle. That'll work just as well, okay? Plus, one of the steps we're going to be needing is, besides our dish soap, which we need, we're going to need water. So if you already have the bottle, then you're good. You have the water ready, just use a water bottle as your container. We're also going to be needing vinegar. I have mine just in an easy container. It might be easier for the kids to put in a smaller container. You can also probably do it in like a squeeze bottle maybe. Might be a little easier for the kids. Now we have a couple things we're going to need. Measuring spoons. And optional. Food coloring is optional. And I know the next one, I know you parents are probably going to cringe, especially you moms. An optional thing you're going to need is glitter. I know, the kids are probably going to see the step and say, hey mom, she said glitter. That's optional, okay? So I know the kids will be excited and you won't, but don't worry, you can just wipe it off easy with a wipe or something. It should be okay. So let's go ahead and go over our steps. All right, hope you got all those. So let's go ahead and begin. First thing I'm gonna do is get my jar. Now I'm gonna get my water. Here I'm using a glass, so I'm gonna pour my water from the bottle into the jar. I know, it's a little silly. Now it says you want to leave at least 1 inch to 2. Oh, you don't want to fill it up, leave that space about 1 inch or 2. If you have a ruler handy, great. I know it wasn't on my supplies, but you can also just use your finger, just from each knuckle. That's about 1 inch. You can do your pinky or your index finger, about 1 inch or 2. Kind of eyeball. You can mark it. You can have the kid mark it with a little marker, or just make sure they look at it. Put a piece of tape maybe. So I'm going to go ahead and pour my water. Okay. Make sure you close it. If you're near a sink, no problem. Just turn off the water. If you're using a bottle, make sure you close the cap. You don't want it spilling all over the table. Next step is, this is where we're going to add optional items. You can do the food coloring or the glitter, or you can be very dangerous and can do both. That's up to you. I am just going to go ahead and be safe, and I'm just going to do my food coloring. You want to do 1 to 2 drops, because if you do too much of the food coloring, you might not be able to see the tornado because it's going to be too dark. So be careful on the color you choose when you're doing food coloring. If you do glitter, make sure it's a glitter that you'll be able to see, because if the glitter is too light, like silver, you might not be able to see the glitter either to form the tornado. So I'm just going to do 1 little drop. And with all that water, the blue should be able to make it light. It shouldn't be too dark once it is mixed all together. Now here comes the next part that's going to help with our tornado. You're going to get your dish soap and get a tablespoon. If you don't have your measuring spoon, You can actually use a regular tablespoon that you use for your cereal. You can sometimes use that equals to an exact tablespoon. A smaller one will give you a teaspoon. So you might want to get the bigger spoon. That'll be your tablespoon, and the one you use for your cereal will be teaspoon. So you can do that also if you do not have measuring spoons with you. So make sure I'm going to make that go a little bit. There we go. So let me go ahead and get my tablespoon of dish soap. Close our cap. And hold it over the jar or bottle. If you're using a water bottle, you might want to get a funnel. Or you have to be very careful when you're pouring that in, because it's just a smaller entry, and you want to hold it over because you want to make sure all that soap goes in, because a lot of times it sticks to the side of the measuring spoon or spoon. So you want to make sure we get all of that in there. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is our teaspoon of vinegar. So like I said, use your cereal spoon. In my case, I have a half teaspoon, so guess what? I know it's math. I'm going to have to do 2 of these to make 1 teaspoon. So measure out. Okay, so that's my teaspoon. Set that aside. And this vinegar, so be very careful, it's going to be a strong smell on there. Now we want to mix it gently. So what I'm going to do is just kind of swirl it around just a little bit. We want to make sure that vinegar in, and the point that we have vinegar in this is because what happens is the vinegar is going to, any bubbles that form from the dish soap is going to kind of get rid of them, okay? Now if you happen, when you're stirring this, if you happen to get a lot of bubbles, just get a spoon, scoop them out, and put them off to the side, throw it into the sink, because with dish soap, it's going to form the bubbles, but the vinegar is going to help try to prevent that. So I'm going to go ahead and seal my jar. Okay. Just so you have, once everything's combined, here's the fun part. We're going to actually start making our tornado. Now be very careful if they have a glass jar, or if it's a water bottle, you're fine. All they're going to do is once they hold it, they're going to shake it, whether you do it from the top holding it. The kids might want to hold both hands and shake it, and that's fine. I'm going to hold on top for me, because I'm able to do this a little better. So parents, if you want, you can do it for them. And that way they can look eye level right where you're at to see the tornado. You want to shake as much as you can. And what's going to happen is, as we're turning it, it's going to form a V. What you're going to see is kind of like a V, so you might want to look a little close. It's going to form the V, which is going to be what they call a water vortex, or in other words, a tornado in a jar. And you barely see it, but it's right there. That's why you have to choose the colors or maybe the glitter, and that'll help you see the tornado. But as you can see, mine already formed a little bit of bubbles. So what I can do is I can scoop it out and put it aside. That way, you know, I can do it again once you just scoop it out. I'll show you an example. I use this container I had on the side. And all you're going to do is get the bubbles, put it aside. Although they probably will have fun with the bubbles that you set aside, probably. Who doesn't like bubbles? So I'm going to scoop as much as I can. Then you put the jar back on, and guess what? Now we can do it again. So they can shake it again. And you can see the vortex that's going to form right here. And that's your tornado in the jar. Now, just want to show you a couple of library resources. All right, So we have these right here. These you can find on go onto our catalog, online catalog, and you can find a couple of these if they're interested in STEM or science experiments. They may really like this one. It's edible science experiments. They may like that. I know you probably wouldn't, but they're kids. They're gonna try anything and eat. If you prefer online, like you have your smart devices, your iPad, smartphone, laptop, you prefer online, we have two great resources, Access 360 and Hoopla, that also has some science experiments and science books in there. I think they actually have them separated by literally the subject, so that'd be great. Look under science. That'd be a great one for you to do. Now, remember, visit our Facebook and YouTube channel, Corpus Christi Public Libraries. You can see all the programs that we are offering. And because of summer reading, make sure you also check if you are signed up for the summer reading, look for those secret codes, okay? Don't forget that. Also, you can go to our website, cctexas.com/library, and you can get the full list of all the virtual programs that we are offering by all the other librarians. Not only that, if you need help looking for some more science experiments, check out our new online browsing options, which are new book alerts, author check, and book newsletter. And I will see you next time. Bye.